So we got some more deeper information on the case assortments and how essentially it's going to work with who's going to be available in one specific size class for the Transformers War for Cybertron, I guess we'll call it Chapter 3, Kingdom, the entering of the Beast Wars. But before that, I just want to say thanks to everyone who came by the stream last night. It was super epic. We had Hasbro's Aaron Archer. We had the whole crew. It was great stuff. A lot of funny stuff. Man, we went for 3 hours. That was nuts. So yeah, let's jump into this Kingdom news. So JT Prime, once again, super reliable source, has some access to the target system listings of future product that will be coming to stores, and it gives us the full rollout for their planning for what is going to be all of Kingdom. So it leads to the assortment of what we have here so far. There is the following. We have 6 core class figures across 3 waves. We have 16 deluxes across 4 waves. We have 7 Voyagers, again across 4 waves, and 2 leader classes that will be across the 4 waves, but just will be fillers. And also, to go back to it, the 6 core class figures, judging by the fact that it's across 3 waves, it's probably going to have some fillers from maybe the previous waves, kind of like how we had Slitherfang and Rung together, even though Rung was something from Siege. And I think Smashdown was another one too that was a carryover. And then we have, same thing, the Voyagers, instead of 8 of them, there's 7. So there's going to probably be maybe 1 within them that is going to be carried over for an extra wave. This is not uncommon. This stuff happens all the time in Transformers, where sometimes there's a filler character in a wave. But yeah, so let's get into the deep nitty-gritty of it, which is all the not the deluxes, the Voyagers have been named in the system. And so we have here, we'll go with the first one, Cyclonus. Now, this probably is an explanation of where that Cyclonus figure that was leaked to us all those weeks ago, almost like months ago now at this point, will be appearing. Apparently, he won't be appearing in a Studio Series 86 kind of line. He'll be appearing right here. So, makes sense. Alrighty. Next we have here is Optimus Prime, although they believe that it's actually just a mislabeling of Optimus Primal. So, again, makes sense. Voyager scale, Optimus Primal, sure. Kind of makes sense that he'd be in the line. G1 Inferno, no surprise here. We've been talking about this in the past. He's going to be part of it. And no one believes that it's a mislabeling. It just makes sense. Hey, you're going to take that grapple mold. You're going to do Inferno sooner or later. And then we got Starscream here. This one's interesting because we've had Starscream and then the Seekers that come with it for Siege. We had Starscream and the Seekers that come with it for Earthrise. And now we have yet another Starscream, and people are going, what is this one going to be? Because we had Tetrajet, we had, traditional F-15 jet. What are we going to have here this time around? I think it could be one of a few things. Number one, it could be some kind of playful fusion of Waspinator with Starscream because of the fictional connections that they have with each other from Beast Wars, from the episode Possession in Season 1. Or alternatively, they could just take a different take of Starscream throughout the mythos. Much like how way back in the day we had the leak in Generations, and they mentioned, there's going to be a deluxe Starscream in Generations, and it ended up being the Armada design. So maybe it could be a Starscream from a different era. Could be an Energon Starscream, could be an Armada Starscream, could be a Cybertron Starscream. We get that old Cybertron design. It could be a Starscream from who knows. Could be a Voyager Starscream done in G2 colors. There's so many different ways that this could be done. The Earthrise Starscream in G2 colors specifically, because Beast Wars was right, after G2, so that could be the connection of where that Starscream comes from in the mythos of the timeline. It could be anything, but it's definitely going to be interesting to see what that one will be because of what we've already gotten up to this point just recently. So that'll be interesting. Then we get Dinobot. Again, he's one of the more important ones because we recently got an amazing Masterpiece figure, so it'll be interesting to see what a more affordable Beast Wars Dinobot for collectors and fans will be. Then we got Rhinox. That one, see, I'm kind of hot and cold on, only because now I understand, not everyone was able to pick up the Generations toy back in the day. But I mean, that Generations toy, especially for, its time and its budget, is about as perfect as it gets. It's practically a masterpiece toy in itself. I mean, even the fact that it came with, I'm turning my head and looking at it, that it came with 2 chain guns, not 1, but 2. I don't know. That toy is about as perfect as it comes. So whatever they're going to do here, I hope it's even half as good as what we got with Generations. Maybe it'll have less loose legs, because some of them were kind of loose. Some people are having reports of that. But otherwise, hey, it's Rhinox. Voyager scale makes sense. And speaking of scale and making sense, Tigatron. Now, some people are going, oh, well, I guess Tigatron is not going to be a retool repaint of Cheetor. Well, you got to understand something. Like, if the recent Masterpiece is any indication, Tigatron, outside of his original release back in the day, being a repaint to Cheetor, that was never the intent. Even in the show, in terms of scale, you always had Big Cat and you had Little Cat. And the Masterpiece is the same thing. You look at Masterpiece Cheetor next to Masterpiece Tigatron, completely different molds, even though they're supposed to look like they're the same. And he towers over Cheetor. So this will make sense, him being a Voyager, and if Cheetor ends up being in the Deluxes from previous listings we've seen, it'll just work out completely. And not to mention the fact that then it also opens up to, oh, hey, now Cheetor, I guess, can be a Shadow Panther repaint, and it won't just water the line with a whole bunch of, like as if the Cheetor mold will be the Seeker mold of the Beast Wars era, where there'll just be so many repaints of it. But this leads that Tigatron could be his own mold in his own scale, and he could be repainted into something later. And Cheetor could be his own mold and his own scale, and he could be repainted into something later, and it doesn't weigh down the entire line with the same, I guess, cat body type. So I like what I see here. Again, it kind of gives us a good indicator of what's happening with that Cyclonus. Makes some interesting cases to be said for Starscream because of what's going on there. Gives something affordable for us for Dinobot. We get that Inferno that we've already discussed many times. Gives us an idea of how big Tigatron's going to be. And, of course, I guess for people who just missed out in the past, although, again, that Rhinox is still affordable and easy to find today in the secondary market because there's just so many of them. And he also came out around a time when there was a lot of clearance. It was the tail end of of Generations, and he was kind of like, I think he was like, man, like 4 per case at some point. But so yeah, hey, another Rhinox. At this point, I think like for me, again, it's different for me because of everything I got. For me, I think a Voyager Transmetal would have been more interesting, but I understand where they're getting at. The business part of it is you don't do the Transmetal, you do what fans remembered. You go with that design, and he'll be affordable for people to pick up today, who weren't able to get it back in the day. So this is really cool news. Really excited about it. Let me know what you think. So this is pretty much what's going to be our Voyagers. Pretty much what's going to be it. And this is the 7 that we're going to be getting for the entire run. So how this is going to break down, who's going to be Wave 1, Wave 2, Wave 3. I'm thinking obviously Primal and the Inferno, which were originally announced, are going to be the Wave 1 because Inferno will be that bridge from what Earthrise was, give us a G1 character. And then, Wave 2 and 3 will go more into the nitty-gritty of maybe story and stuff. So maybe Cyclonus will stick around for Wave 2 with Starscream, and then Wave 3 and 4 is Dinobot, Tigatron, Rhinox. Separate Tigatron, give him a little distance from the Cheetor release, so you don't have 2 cats. But who knows? We will see. Interesting stuff in the horizon. Again, as a big Beast Wars fan, this is all news that I'm excited to see what happens. And hopefully we'll learn more and get some photos sooner than later. I talked about this on my stream, how we really need to get some photos already. Like they're making us so hyped, but we've seen nothing. And I feel that if we had a San Diego Comic-Con already, because we ended up having to not have one due to the big V in the world here, we would have already seen something. My voice sounds a little shot because yesterday, man, we went for 3 hours in the stream. But again, thanks for everyone for coming, and let me know what you think about this crazy news that's going on in the world of Transformers and the Animal Kingdom.